Welcome to Beyond Tech, where in this episode we'll be talking about the elephant in the room, artificial intelligence, with Tiago Santos, software architect. And we've all heard artificial intelligence being used in coding. It's probably doing Tiago's work while he's here this morning. And according to him, that's where he says, Tiago Santos, software architect at Mercedes-Benz.io, the best software engineer in the world, right?
No.
That's what you said, but
no,
let's move on.
Never said that.
No, I'm pretty sure you did. So, 76%, I think this was the latest report, 76% of the devs already using AI on their workflows. When, not this morning, but when you open the laptop, usually in the morning, do you use AI? Where do you use AI? Where do AI fits in your workflow right now?
Yeah. According to the news, that's pretty accurate number, probably rising every day. Usually on my workflow, first thing that I do when I sit at the laptop, of course, I look at what I have to do in the day, and if I'm going to do some task or programming task, probably I use AI. I would say that I use AI as a helper or as a way of enhancing my skills and pretty much on a learning mode. Mm-hmm. So not asking that much on do it for me, but just, for example, a really handy use case, probably everyone said this already, developers don't like that much to write tests. And what we usually do is we go to AI and you have two options. Either you ask to do the tests or you go the right way. Ask to please, based on my code, try to figure out what are the use cases. But don't ask for the actual test itself, just the use cases, just to give you a ground basis to work on top. And yeah, I think that's where pretty much I use AI, and of course to ask questions on frameworks, mm-hmm. on how can I do something. For example, the other day I was doing something else on a personal topic, and I wanted, okay, let's do this on Go. And yeah, just give me the basis on how Go works and compare it to another programming language that I already know. Just to give a sense on what are the difference, and go from there basically. Yeah.
So it's not only just automating the grunt work, but also challenge your ideas, helping you learn.
Yeah,
so it's not
exactly.
just automation.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. So you talked about what to use for, but what is it still for you? One thing or more that you still refuse to give to AI, even just for passion, or that you don't trust it? I usually avoid giving personal data. Okay. Because we all know that, and it's on the news, every now and then there are data breaches, and I think we shouldn't give, at least at this point, we should be very careful on what we feed to AI, because AI is learning and we will have your data, mm-hmm. And it's dangerous if you give something personal that you shouldn't. So, like you said, it's for coding, for tests. Even the latest Gartner reports are saying that now we're moving from just using as a coding completion or coding assistance to starting in even software developers, instead of just being coding, are now more orchestrating. So you're an architect, right? Yeah. So you're already used to look at the big picture. Do you think that the entire software engineering field is moving closer to that architect role of just looking at the big picture and seeing how to solve and how to implement?
Yeah. I think this one clear thing that we can see, and it's actually what should have been all along, is that software development is not about writing code, is not about the syntax. Yeah. It's about understanding what you are doing and understanding the basis, and lead you to, on your own brain, you come up with ideas and you figure out, you have an idea, you need to make it work, and you just use the computer to do it. So it's just a means. Yeah. And how can we do it? We write code. So it's pretty much like a calculator. Yeah. So how can you do math? You just use a calculator. If you don't want to use it, to use your brain, of course, and don't want to do the math, but you still need to know the concepts behind and to know how to sum up numbers. And yeah, I think this is pretty much the challenge that we have nowadays, is that we should focus on the semantics of things and on the ideas and the value that we bring, not that much on syntax. Yep. This is just another layer of abstraction. If you see the trend on computers, we started by doing like perforated cards, then we moved to assembly, then we abstracted even higher with C, C++, Python. So coming up all the way up with abstraction, AI is just another abstraction where you can actually talk or
natural language
and use English or your own language. It doesn't really matter to come up with a solution. Yeah, but still you need to be in the loop to guide it and to achieve your outcome and change things when they are not what you thought at the beginning, right? So yeah.
Exactly. So following up on that topic, as AI writes more code, I'll touch a little bit on a sensitive topic probably, which is the more AI maintains the code base, what does elegant code means, right? What's the only left? Is it the only metric left is working code? Do I care about elegant code, about quality of what's there?
Yeah, that's a sensitive topic because every developer, until I'm not saying that now we don't care, but so the mindset, the mind shift before the mindset before having AI. So everyone was proud of the code that they wrote, and people were very like passionate and okay, this needs to be performant. We need to write it this way. We need to follow good practices on programming levels and so on. And what we can see now is that probably code quality, at least on when AI started, code quality dropped quite a bit because people are experimenting, are using AI. AI is not trained well enough at the beginning, and code quality dropped a bit. And what you see, in my opinion, is that code was at this level high, then dropped a bit. Now it's becoming the new standard. AI models are evolving, code quality will increase again, and eventually people will start caring again or will start giving the right importance to this topic, because you will need to have still performance systems. You will need to have code quality, otherwise you will not be able to, if there is a problem, and this happens when people use AI, so you will not be able to debug it as faster as you could if done with better coding standards. Because it's like they say, so now you stay like 5 minutes writing the code because you ask the help for AI, then if there's a problem, you stay 3 hours debugging. And before it was the other way around, 3 hours coding, 1 hour debugging.
You lose the mental model of your code base, while when we're coding, we know the mental model, we know everything about the code, but now it's just, I need to reread everything that it was
because
generated.
You are not, that's one aspect of this is that usually humans, they memorize or they understand what so there are several layers on how you can remember things, and writing your stuff, it's one of them. And since you are not the one writing, you will not recall what's there.
You're not the principal actor, right?
Exactly. And you will be like every time looking at everywhere, so where is this problem, where is it, I don't understand this, and
exactly.
That's where you will need also the help. Okay, tell me what this method is doing, because you can't even remember.
Exactly. What's this utils folder?
Exactly. Yeah.
But in the future, right, the more we see more autonomous AI agents appearing, and more, the question will be: do you think that our repos will become more like black boxes? Because even the debugging part, AI will be able to do it, and the readability of the code will not be important, because just give it to AI and AI will do it the best way it can do it. Do you see it going that route? Yeah, I know we're 8 magic ball, crystal ball, trying to predict the future.
Yeah. It's definitely a concern, or definitely something that we need to pay attention. But yeah, I think nowadays you can start seeing this, right? Because all repos, if you go to GitHub, most of the repos or the new ones are adding like skills, agents. It's pretty much living code bases, not with the humans, but or not only, of course, with the humans, but with AI.
Exactly.
And even more, you have like tools like, for example, in GitHub, you can offload agents. You can ask it, okay, just do this, and it will run an agent for you and do it and open a PR. And yeah, so code will for sure iterate itself, but still is important for us to keep a track on it, because I'm sure that people will not want, for example, in an airplane, something bad happen and, well, let's just blame AI. I don't think
who's to blame, of course.
Yes, because there needs to be someone to blame, and we can just offload it. Oh, it was not me doing, it was AI, so not my problem. And I don't think that's the way we should go, and humans should always keep an eye on it. And it's like you mentioned, so people will shift more towards a higher level and more towards the architect role or the solutions role, where they will have the general perspective. They will know how things work, and will experiment with AI and work around it. So to use what they learn, basically.
Yeah, and now enters an issue because, like you said, now everybody, 76% of developers now use AI. Juniors are using more AI, being more productive, sources say, of course, and they feel more productive. But do you think that there will lead to a skill erosion down the road? Or because AI is now the new future, also those skills that made you an architect, the struggle that you had to endure during your years until becoming an architect, do you think those are skills that will be lost with time the more you offload to AI?
I don't think they will be lost. I will think the other way around, because people will need to acquire those skills earlier.
Okay.
So the usual developer role, let's say until now, you started by coding, right? You university, of course, you learn the bases and so on, but everything goes around coding.
Yeah. Syntax,
and now things should shift. So you should take the perspective right away of the solution and how you should do it, what's out there that you can use, and use AI on your advantage to do stuff more productively, right? And this needs to, in the developer role and also in universities and all of that, because they will need for sure, and I hope that they are already tackling those topics. They need to adapt how they teach students computer science, because nowadays it's completely different, and they can't just ignore AI, because it's here, will stay here, even if it bursts somehow, or if there's an issue, we will never go back, right? This is
turning point.
Exactly. This is always the worst AI that we can have. It's now, because it will either go better or stop as it is. And I think this needs to be a mindset that needs to come earlier. So the architecture part and the solutions of how things
You're
are
touching
done.
a point that I wanted you to touch later on, but even better that we did now, which is the education, because I know it's a dear topic to you. And you even said it, now we need to change even how computer science education needs to be done. We don't know what the answer is, but and like you said, we need to shift more into business value, right? So what's the value for the customer? What's the value for the end user instead of just the syntax that you made in your code? So like you said, education needs to change. Do you have any idea on what will change? Is it coding? Will still coding be part of the curriculum?
Yes. I think coding is still a part of the curriculum, but not the syntax itself, right? So it will be like, okay, you need to achieve something with this, and teachers should not ban AI. They should embrace it and teach them not to over rely on AI and not to ask for the answers. But more on a learning perspective. And of course it will be in the loop of if you want to do something, or they will teach the basis, for example, data structures, people will need to know them. It's like math. You need to know how to sum, but you use a calculator to do it.
Just pseudocode.
Yes, exactly. And in the end, they will need to make it concrete somehow, and for that they can use AI to help, to write the syntax, and go from there and iterate from there. But still will be in the loop, at least in this amount of time. Of course, things will keep evolving. If this continues, keep evolving, and things might shift, but it's
we're
still
filming
in
this
the loop.
in January 2026. If in 6 months it's completely different, we're sorry.
It might.
We don't know.
We don't know, exactly.
But you touched upon a point of learning in your teams. Do you see now juniors or even mids or even seniors relying more on AI when they ask questions instead of going to the senior, instead of going to a colleague? And we don't even need to put in the team. Before we had Stack Overflow, for example, where it was a forum, there was are we losing the community part of the computer science?
Exactly, that's an interesting topic, because with the power of AI, now you can do things more on your own, right? And you don't need to, it's not that you don't need, it's people might think that you don't need to interact that much with others, because you will use AI to brainstorm as a rubber duck. On one hand, you kind of lose a bit on that side, but I think it's still important to see the perspectives of others, right? And for example, I in my team, I see it happening. So people open PRs, but I do still have comments on those PRs, even if myself, right? I was doing some coding before and asking to do use cases for tests, and there was stuff that didn't make sense, right? Because some use cases are not real and depend on your business context, and you need always to fine-tune something. And when you open a PR, people will see it on a different perspective, right? On their own perspective, and they will have comments, and I think that's still important, and that's the feedback loop, let's say. It's still important. But of course, we are much more independent, and we can do much more. Like you mentioned with juniors, they can now use AI to do much more tasks and not depend that much on other people on the team. Of course, in the end, they will need to ask them or to continue the process with them. But
so even the role of a senior is changing.
Exactly.
From mentorship.
People might think that, and that's probably a misconception, is that juniors will no longer exist because AI does the job of a junior. I don't see it that way. I just see it as a shift on the scale on the things that you need to know now for entering the computer science world, right? So before AI requirements were something, now since you have the power of AI to help, requirements are just different. So it's expected for people that is new on the field to know how to use or to start knowing how to use these tools. And when probably companies hire them, they are expecting, okay, this is just another strength that this candidate has. He knows how to use AI tools.
Before and we even have that talk in another episode, which we could see earlier. We had .NET developer when we were looking for a candidate, Java developer. Now it's even more shifted for backend, front end. Probably in the future, it's just software developer. So, what do you think are the skills that are going mostly to be needed in the future, that are still needed, or new skills that will arise with the advent of AI?
I think, like I mentioned, so being able to think on a solution is the most important skill. So to have, so being able to have a vision or to come up with ideas and think on solutions. Not that much that, okay, in order to do this, and I need to use this method. It doesn't matter what the method is. It will be irrelevant at some point. You just need to know what's behind, so and the reasoning behind stuff. And I think that's the way people should look at it.
So puzzle solving, it's like one of the most important skills that we still need, but due to even arise more in critical thinking about what
critical
AI
thinking,
says. And you even touch a little bit, but what do you think are now, let's be harsh, wasted skills that are going to be disappearing in the near future with the more AI is being used?
Probably developers that were, or I mean, I will not say developers because this doesn't affect only developers, right? In general, on everywhere. So people that were too focused on something that is concrete on that topic, I will apply it, of course, to the development world and come again with the topic of, I know to do this on this language. I know to program very well on Java. It's not a particular skill that people should strive for to have. Of course, they can have it just for fun and for their own knowledge, of course. But it's not something that I think that people will look for. People will look more for, okay, he is able to do tasks. It doesn't really matter how we can or what technology he is using, because the candidate will be able to use virtually any technology and apply the concepts that were learned to use it. And I think that's the most important part. So critical thinking and knowing how to use tools and how to use what's around or what's there. Yeah.
Exactly. Talking about critical thinking, software architect, one of the things that are most important that you need to understand, right, it's technical trade-offs. And AI says things in a certain way that it makes it seem that there's only one correct answer, usually. Maybe again, 6 months from now, there may be better models. How do you handle that part, right? So when you're just debating with AI, it comes up with an answer. Do you think that that part of the technical trade-offs, can AI ever leverage that? So, for example, there are trade-offs that can only be solved with even company culture. Even inside the company, there's parts that you're going to give more to a solution than to another. Do you think AI will ever have that? And I know, again, crystal ball. Or for now, you need the architect for this.
I think we will only, so AI is an enhancer, and we will only need people in the end, and it's very hard, and currently it's even harder to have AI do something out of the box without that much context, right? Because you need, like you mentioned, so there are cultural things, there are business things, there are a lot of topics around that AI is not aware of, and it needs I think it's sentient, right? Yeah. Being to be there and to guide, have their own ideas and all of that. And the AI is just so you ask something to AI and there's a particular thing. Of course, if you don't tweak settings and all of that, there's a particular thing that AI is always doing is it always come up with an answer. Yeah. It doesn't matter. It's there to give you an answer. Yeah. But it might not be your answer and might not be even the correct answer for you. So it comes up to you to have the judgment to see if, okay, is this fitting for me? Do I want to challenge it? Do I want to, or I'm not going to bother about it? Or so I think it's pretty much that that's still important. Yeah.
And it says with a lot of confidence.
Exactly, yeah. It says, so you ask something and, oh, of course, this is the right solution. And sometimes it even hallucinates, of course, because it still happens. Models are improving every day, but it still happens, and it just says. I remember, so a couple of months ago, because I want to do things, I'm a DIYer, so do it yourself. And usually I'm the one doing maintenance on my car. And I wanted to change the oil on the car. And I had a package of oil, but I was not sure if it was the right oil for the car. Then I asked AI. I popped Gemini, pointed to the thing, asked, is this the right oil for my car? And then AI told me, yes, don't you see? It's right there written, these words. Is that right there written that this is a match for your car? And I was spending like 2 minutes looking at the package and see where it was written. It was not written anywhere. Yeah. It just made up that it was there something written. And then I told AI, no, it's not there. It enters the part where you start discussing with AI. No, it's not written there anything. And then, I see, I was wrong. It's not written there. So you see, there's these still tiny things that we should not over rely it, and we should pay attention to it.
How do you architect a stable system, right? When one of the core features, which is AI, is not deterministic. We love deterministic, right? If input A comes to function X, then output B should come. Yes. You're asking the manual, how do you, probably there's no algorithm for that, but how do you, in your mind, would architecture a system that is stable, but still relies on AI that it's not that stable?
Yeah. On one end, you need to have all the security constraints on top of that, because, for example, in the case of the vehicle, you don't want AI to behave bad and start doing something on your car that you don't want. So probably it will be something isolated on kind of a sandbox there. You need to guard safe, let's say, AI. And regarding determinism, it's a really hard topic because AI is trained on models, and it's a probabilistic outcome. So it depends on several factors, right? Yeah. The user asks in one way, it interprets in that way, then you do the question using a tiny difference, and it will give you an answer based on that request, and it's really hard. So it needs to be with, of course, lots of testing and ensure that the probability of giving you the right answer, or let's play it on the other side, of not giving you a wrong answer is very low. Yeah. I think it's, at least for now, it's what we can do, because we still don't have or we don't have that much control, right, on the output of the models. Of course, we can fine-tune models to have the knowledge. That's also one of the approaches. You need to fine-tune the model to have just the minimal knowledge required to do something, and not give the model, like, let's say, give it space to go where it shouldn't. Yeah.
Exactly. If I ask, should I blow the tire with my mouth, it probably says, yeah. But if I say, should I blow instead of could I, it probably changes its reasoning. Personal question: do you feel more productive with AI?
Yes. Like I mentioned, I use AI on certain topics. One important topic that is actually a really good speed up on developing software is what I usually call the glorified autocomplete, because so in the beginning we programmed in Notepad or something. There was no autocomplete. We need to remember everything. Then we shifted. We have IDEs that can list methods and all of that. Then IDEs had basic autocomplete. Now it's what I call the glorified autocomplete, where AI just has laid it out the most probable sentence or to complete what you are doing, and that's a really good part. And on top of that, other features that help you, like for example, you are changing a name on something, and then it will predict, okay, you need to change here, okay, or not only a name but a pattern. You are just using something constant with a pattern or something, and it will predict the pattern for you and autocomplete that part. That's really helpful and makes you very productive, because you don't really want to be with that boilerplate part doing that boring stuff. You want to be focused on a solution and on how to solve the problem that you have in hands. And that's where I think it's the most useful thing on AI when it comes to development, at least on my side.
So it's not just about the generating more code or code faster, it's then helping you generate more value. So value for it's not code for the sake of more code, because now AI does that. You touched upon it, like in the tests, if we say just give me 80% coverage, it'll probably give 80% coverage, but half of the tests probably will be like, doesn't make sense. So
yes, like some of them don't make sense, and it can happen, and even the way they are structured might not be. So this is also very important, and it's where these new tools or these new topics that are rising, where people can write their skills, their agents and their prompts, where they can pretty much customize the experience to their side. Because in the end, actually, development or writing code was very opinionated, and it was a matter of preference. So if you see it, you will see that I have it's pretty much like writing a poem or writing a book. So every developer has his signature, and you can see right away when someone opens a PR. You don't need to look at the name if you know the people well enough. You will see, oh, this developer doing that, because there's a specific, let's say, core set of roles that each developer has, and does it in that way. So it will be a matter of preference, and AI will help on that, because and even will help on keeping standards, because we will have just, okay, use these standards,
So I love the idea that while the grunt work, so the boilerplate code is being automated, the human part, like the architecture part, so where you do the trade-offs, the empathy for the end user are becoming more and more valuable, because now it's just that objective, that goal in the end that you have. Thank you so much, Tiago. You're welcome. It. Thanks, Tiago. If you need oil maintenance and car maintenance, talk to Tiago Santos. You heard him. And that's it for now. Thank you so much.